20 stars of the Golden Age of Hollywood who have all turned 100 years old. The Golden Age of Hollywood lasted from the 1910s to the 1960s, with the period shaping Western cinema as we now know it. The era also gave us movies that are still beloved today: Citizen Kane, Singin' in the Rain, and The Wizard of Oz, to name just three. But while that time may now be long over, there are still some people alive today who were once Golden Age stars. Not only that, but some actors who found fame in Hollywood over the decades also reached 100 years old or more before passing away, with many having lived utterly extraordinary lives. As a child star of the silent film era, Diana Sarah Carey was first known as Baby Peggy. Yet while she was paid $1.5 million by Universal for her work, her parents squandered it all. By the time Carey was a teenager, in fact, there was no money left to set her up for the rest of her life. Her case was one of those that helped bring about the Coogan Act, which was named after Carey's contemporary Jackie Coogan and protects the rights of child actors. Carey's later years, then, were spent defying her parents. Ultimately, she fled her home, after which she married actor Gordon Ayers, although she divorced him 10 years later. Carey later wed once again and had a son. And right into her twilight years, she has both spoken out about the abuses that child actors of her era were subjected to and pushed for better laws to protect them. In October 2018, moreover, Carey reached the grand old age of 100. While Karen Marshall was cast in The Wizard of Oz, you wouldn't have seen her. She was Judy Garland's dance double. She did, however, appear on screen in a large handful of other lesser-known films from that era, including That Night in Rio, Best Foot Forward, and Seven Sweethearts. Not only that, but Marsh also had a tiny role in Gone with the Wind, meaning she has two of the biggest movies of all time on her resume. Gloria Frances Stewart, born Gloria Stewart, July 4, 1910 to September 26, 2010, was an American actress, visual artist, and activist. She was initially known for her roles as a contract player in the 1930s and 1940s, though she would garner widespread fame later in life for her critically acclaimed role in James Cameron's Titanic, 1997. Her accolades include a Screen Actors Guild Award, 1 Academy Award nomination, and 1 Golden Globe nomination. Yes, Stewart played the elderly Rose in James Cameron's smash hit Titanic. Her performance gained her a Best Supporting Actress Oscar nomination, too, and to this day she remains the oldest person ever to receive that accolade. And just like Rose, Stewart herself made it to 100, although she died 3 months after reaching the milestone. Carla Laemmle may have been the niece of Universal Studios co-founder Carl Laemmle, but she was nevertheless highly accomplished in her own right. Laemmle was an icon of the horror world, in fact, having danced in The Phantom of the Opera and delivered the first line in Dracula. She also held horror parties apparently so scary that at least one guest is reported to have fainted. And Laemmle kept active in the entertainment world as she grew older, thanks in part to appearances in documentaries about horror movies and the Hollywood system. She also continued to act right up until 2014, the same year she passed away. When she died in her Los Angeles home, then, she was a truly impressive 104. George Burns, born Nathan Birnbaum, Yiddish, January 20, 1896 to March 9, 1996, was an American comedian, actor, singer, and writer. He was one of the few entertainers whose career successfully spanned vaudeville, radio, film and television. His arched eyebrow and cigar smoke punctuation became familiar trademarks for over 3/4 of a century. He and his wife, Gracie Allen, appeared on radio, television, and film as the comedy duo Burns and Allen. At age 79, Burns had a sudden career revival as an amiable, beloved and unusually active comedy elder statesman in the 1975 film The Sunshine Boys, for which he won the Academy Award for Best Supporting Actor. Burns, who became a centenarian in 1996, continued to work until just weeks before his death of cardiac arrest at his home in Beverly Hills. While Herb Jeffries claimed many different ethnic identities throughout his career, he often appeared in multiple films aimed at African American audiences. These were usually westerns, and Jeffries was sometimes billed as a sensational singing cowboy. In fact, his debut movie, Harlem on the Prairie, has even been called the first black western. Jeffries earned another nickname in time, too, being dubbed the last of the singing cowboys after Roy Rogers and Gene Autry both passed away. and in 1995 he released an album called The Bronze Buckaroo Rides Again, a reference to yet another name that audiences knew him by. Jeffries passed away as a result of heart failure in 2014, having hit 100 years old. Doris Eaton Travis became involved with show business while she was still a child. In 1918, she became a Ziegfeld girl, the youngest ever. And as Travis performed in silent films throughout the Golden Age, she met all manner of famous people during the course of her career. As she grew older and the era came to an end, however, she became a dance instructor. Perhaps that early start did Travis good, though, as she was blessed, it seemed, with remarkable longevity and health. At the age of 103 she could still dance a little for her friends at parties, while at 105 she did a small performance at a Broadway benefit. When she died from an aneurysm in 2010, then, she had reached an impressive 106. Faye McKenzie was the leading lady of many Gene Autry films, although she had actually been appearing in movies since infanthood. Yes, at just 10 weeks old she showed up in station content as Gloria Swanson's on-screen child. And it turns out that Mackenzie's showbiz background was one of the things that led to her being cast opposite Autry. "I could sing, and that was something the earlier girls couldn't do," she told Western Clippings in an interview. Mackenzie's later marriage to screenwriter Tom Waldman resulted in 2 children, both of whom followed in their parents' footsteps. One became an actor and one a writer. Mackenzie took a break from film acting to raise them, too, but returned in the 60s, during which she had a small role in the iconic Breakfast at Tiffany's. She died in 2019 at the age of 101. Marcia Hunt was initially an actress, appearing in Born to the West and the 1940 version of Pride and Prejudice among other movies. But after being blacklisted from Hollywood in the wake of McCarthyism, she also became a devoted activist. Hunt traveled throughout America giving speeches about the importance of helping the developing world, in fact, and engaged in work helping the homeless. Sadly, though, Hunt has seemingly fallen victim to ailments that afflict many in old age. In 2018 Nepalese Rupees reported, for instance, that the former star uses both a hearing aid and a walker. In addition, the station said, her eyesight had deteriorated to the point that she could no longer read. "I hope I know what's going on, but not in the detail that I used to and that I treasured," Hunt told NPR. Nevertheless, she's still alive and kicking, and celebrated her 101st birthday in October 2018. As many know, Kirk Douglas was not only a famous actor of the Golden Age of Hollywood, but he is also father to accomplished actor Michael Douglas. And as Michael is now well into his 70s, that suggests just how long-lived Kirk himself is. Yes, while the 3-time Oscar nominee may not act anymore or appear in public very much, he's nevertheless reached the impressive age of 102. The iconic film star's last major public appearance to date came when his son earned a place on the Hollywood Walk of Fame in November 2018. There, Michael told Kirk, "Thank you for your advice and inspiration. And I'll say it simply and with all my heart, I'm so proud to be your son." Marta Egerth was truly an international film star. Throughout her prolific career, she made films in not only English, but also Italian, French, German and her mother tongue of Hungarian. And Egerth can also be seen in 2 movies with fellow star Judy Garland, For Me and My Gal and Presenting Lily Mars. Both were hits and so proved profitable for MGM Studios. Patricia Morrison. After some time as a stage performer, Patricia Morrison started film acting in 1939. She gained a reputation as a femme fatale type, too, which she put to good use in films such as Dressed to Kill. And Morrison continued to act on Broadway throughout her life, although she also made a foray into TV in an episode of Cheers. Etta Moten Barnett was somewhat of a trailblazer for black women in entertainment by appearing in several films throughout the 30s, including Ladies They Talk About and Day at the Races. In the movie Professional Sweetheart, too, Teresa Harris's singing voice is actually Barnett's. And she was also one of the first black people to perform at the White House, which she did in 1933. Louise Rayner set many records during her brief time as an actress. For a start, she was not only the first person to win 2 Oscars, but also the first person to achieve this honor at back-to-back ceremonies. Rayner is similarly only one of only 2 people to scoop 2 Academy Awards before the age of 30, the other star in question being Jodie Foster. And she's still to this day the longest-lived winner of any Oscar, as well. However, Rayner disliked the pressure that came with being an Oscar winner, and so she decided that stardom wasn't for her after all. By the 40s, then, she had left the business and was working with war orphans in Europe. But Rayner is still chiefly remembered for her screen career, which earned her a star on the Hollywood Walk of Fame. She died at 104 in 2014. Carlyle maintained privacy for the rest of her life. In fact, although it's known that she had a son and later became a grandmother of 2. She ultimately passed away in August 2018 while living at an LA-based retirement home for actors. Carlyle was thought to be 104 at the time, although her true age hadn't been verified. Carlyle maintained privacy for the rest of her life. In fact, although it's known that she had a son and later became a grandmother of 2. She ultimately passed away in August 2018 while living at an LA-based retirement home for actors. Carlyle was thought to be 104 at the time, although her true age hadn't been verified. And de Havilland is still alive to this day. She set a record in 2017, too, by becoming the oldest woman ever to receive an Order of the British Empire for services to drama. Plus, she may well end up achieving more milestones in the future. Even though she's now 102, she shows little sign of fading away. In 1985, Derues was awarded an honorary César Award, the César being a very high accolade for entertainers in France. Even after that, though, she kept working as an actress, with one of her most high-profile projects being Persepolis in 2007. She died 10 years later at 100 following complications from a prior fall. In 1985, Derues was awarded an honorary César Award, the César being a very high accolade for entertainers in France. Even after that, though, she kept working as an actress, with one of her most high-profile projects being Persepolis in 2007. She died 10 years later at 100 following complications from a prior fall. Here do you know everything about 20 stars of the golden age of Hollywood? Share your thought in comment box. Don't forget to like and subscribe to our YouTube channel for more related videos.